Body shot, ooh, that hurt, didn't it?
When the adrenaline starts pumping and you know what you can do with this right hand, it's hard to not do that.
Here are your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of the Bloody Water Podcast. UFC Vegas 51 is upon us, and we have a rematch about 6 years in the making. We have a title contender in Vicente Luque, a legitimate contender that is one fight away from that title opportunity, versus a Belal Muhammad, who is a UFC veteran. The man is racking up a nice win streak right now, and he's arguably in that same mix. If it weren't for that no contest by Leon Edwards, or I guess I should say against Leon Edwards, we could really be seeing a title eliminator here. However, I'm not sure if that is the case, but we have a lot to talk about, and we're going to get into plenty of that, folks. My name is Derick G. I am going to be your host today for the next 90 minutes or so, and welcoming me, as always, is my co-host, the New Mexico native, the Santa Fe bomber, AJ, brother. What is happening, my man? Live in the flesh. How is Texas treating you, brother?
Man, it's beautiful out here, brother. I was just telling you, it's getting a little hot. It's getting a little humid, but it's still a beautiful season out here. Lovely people, lovely things, man. Sasha Bear's enjoying her time. Nice. And we got some killer fights. A little bit of a sleeper card to the casual fans, but there's some real heat coming for us, Derick. Man, how you living? How you feeling about the card coming up this weekend?
I'm living good. I'm living good, brother. Excuse me. I'm living good. Stumbling over my words over here, man. Got my cup of joe, letting the caffeine set in. Woke up early, man. It's always the grind. We're ready to go, but I was really excited because even though there was last moment replacements, even though this is more of a card catered towards the hardcore fan, I think this is going to be a fun one for casuals and hardcores alike, brother. So I'm excited for the prospects of this card, and this could be another one of those sneaky ones that were just like on paper, so. I mean, if you think about it, there's only 4 ranked fighters on this entire card. There are 14 fights. So, I mean, it's not like there's a lot of high stakes. However, in terms of the growth and development of the sport, I do believe that, a lot on the line here this weekend. Brother, I do need to ask you straight off the bat. I made a comment real quick, and I said Vicente Luque is probably the title contender, right? He's probably next up for a title shot if he does get the job done in impressive fashion against Belal Muhammad. However, Belal Muhammad shouldn't be too far away. Like, I don't want to sit here and act like, oh, this is some number 10 ranked prospect or whatever. The dude is number 5 in the division, right? Obviously, Leon Edwards is throwing a wrench in the whole entire mix, but that fight with Leon Edwards too kind of put Belal Muhammad a step backwards from where he needs to be. Though he is officially on a 6-fight win streak, how far away is Belal Muhammad from the title at 170 pounds?
I think he's about like 2, maybe 3 fights, depending on how he performs in those fights. You're right, Derick. The one big wrench in, or the speed bump in the path of Belal Muhammad to the gold, is that Leon Edwards fight. If it was a little more closely contested, I mean, sure, it ended no contest with that eye poke, but at the same point, Leon was kind of running away with that fight, man. He was fighting his style of fight. Belal seemed to be a little bit overwhelmed. Now, going forward, if Belal can kind of, switch that up, change things around, get one spectacular one on Luque, get another one back, we might be seeing some talks of a title contention coming in. But I think this is more of a number 1 contender spot for Luque and a kind of a get back spot for Belal, if you know what I mean. How do you feel about that, Derick?
Yeah, it sounds about right to me, to be honest. It sounds about right. Vicente Luque is also a devastating finisher, right? I think he's on a 3-fight submission streak, a couple Bravo chokes. The man is out here getting it against high-level competition. Michael Chiesa, Tyron Woodley, Randy Brown. I mean, come on, brother. Nico Price. His last loss is against Stephen Thompson, Wonderboy Thompson, getting taken down by Belal Muhammad 7 times, Wonderboy Thompson. I mind you. So, brother, yeah, obviously we have a lot to talk about. I just wanted to clarify that real quick. And folks, this is something new that we are implementing over the next couple of weeks. We're going to have it like full through and through the way that we want to do it. But if you're not a fan of sticking around an hour and a half to listen to just hardcore analysis, like us fight junkies, that we tend to do, I guess I should say, right? Then I got something for you. Too long didn't watch, too long didn't read, however you want to call it. Right here off the bat, you got my picks, you have AJ's picks. We're rocking with Vicente Luque, Gadzhi, Omargadzhiev. I'm gonna start forgetting names. Andre Fialho, right? Mayra, Bueno, Silva, Pat Sabatini. I'm rocking. The sole difference here is I'm rocking with Ange Loosa, while AJ is rocking with Mounir Lazzez, fighting out of Morocco. So, folks, if you want to just say, give me the picks, let me take it to the wagering book, write in my parlay and get it in, go ahead. However, folks, we do recommend that you stick around, listen to the analysis, listen to why we are choosing these picks, what kind of parlays we're going to be putting together. And most importantly, because this is knocked out of the way, we're going to be focusing a lot more on prop bets going into this week. So I have a bunch lined up, ready to go, because we don't just want to make money lines. We want to make that big cash. We want to hit those prop bets. We want to hit those parlays and maximize our earning potential. So I'm going to leave it up there for just a few more seconds, folks. Once again, this is the 6-fight lineup. This is main card picks in totality. And AJ is 1 fight ahead of me on the scoreboard for head-to-head. So there you go, folks. You got to take a picture, write it down. I don't care what you do, but either way, let's get to talking about it, brother. So before we jump into all of this good stuff, man, there's a couple of news and notes type situations that I want to hit really quickly, AJ. So the first thing that I got is that the former bantamweight title challenger, a man who is often imitated, never duplicated, a man who looks a little bit like Caio, but is a devastating force in the bantamweight division, man. He's calling his retirement. AJ, brother, we need to talk about it. Marlon Moraes, the Magic Man, he has announced his retirement 1 day shy of his 15-year MMA anniversary. He finishes his career with a win record of, or I guess I should just say a record of 13, 10-1, UFC 5-6, right? So a little under 500, and 10 knockouts, 6 submissions, man, 16 finishes. The man was a finisher. He did challenge for the title. Came close, was never quite there, but I do think it is important to respect and to honor the career of a Marlon Moraes, especially because we made a pretty poignant note after his last loss. And we said, when the fans want to start seeing you hang it up because you're taking a little too much damage, you're getting knocked out too many times in a row, not a good sign. He took it upon himself to make the decision and did not allow the sport to make it for him. How do you feel about that? How impactful is this for future fighters? And just give me your overall take on this, brother.
This is like a sweet and sour moment for me, Derick. I love the fact when anyone takes their future into their own hands and says, yeah, you know, I'm either hanging it up or I'm moving over to this or I'm doing, he did the responsible thing, and that, you know, you got to applaud. You got to applaud the fact that Marlon Moraes saw what was going on, saw he's dropping under that 500 category and thought, you know, my brain's a little more important than me showing up and not performing at my best. Because at that point, man, we gotta respect Marlon, man. He's over here, been through the ringer. Like, this dude fought the best of the best for so long. It was on such a miraculous rise. They call him the Magic Man for a reason, dude. This dude was doing some serious, real deal stuff in the cage and had a legacy career, man. He's gonna be very, especially by us hardcore fans, he's gonna be remembered very fondly as a real deal striker, as a Brazilian that's coming out, man. Leg kicks, head kicks. His kicks in general were just on point, and this dude showed up and he was always game, man. Never backing down, always ready to fight whoever, whenever. He is the epitome of a legit fighter, man, which I think goes unrespected, or at least underappreciated about a lot of people out there. A lot of people just kind of think of Marlon Moraes as this medium range fighter, but for a long time, man, Marlon was at the top of his career, and I do think he deserves a lot of respect for that. I appreciate the fact of Marlon Moraes' entire career, as well as the fact that he decided to make the decision up on his own to hang him up. I gotta respect it. I'm happy and sad to see the Magic Man take his farewell. How do you feel about it, Derick?
Yeah, no, I am in agreement with you. He was a major fixture in the bantamweight division. He was the litmus test for just about everybody. He fought the best of the best. He never fought scrubs, and he wasn't unwilling to go out on a shield, man. And I can always say that at UFC 266 when he fought Merab, man, because I went to that fight, that was hard. Listen, he was winning until he wasn't, brother. Like, it was just another one of those, man. So shout out to the Magic Man. Just wanted to spend a little bit of time on his retirement. We also need to talk, AJ, before we give the context behind the rematch in the main event that we're talking about at UFC Vegas 51. We have a Bellator card that is I'm not gonna say that it's the most, banging card in the world, but I will say that it's something to keep an eye on. So I'm gonna switch over the screen real fast, AJ. And the thing that I want to touch on the most is this fight right here. AJ McKee Jr. versus Patricio Pitbull, number 2. This is the rematch. Now, lest we forget, the featherweight Grand Prix in Bellator was won by AJ McKee. He won $1 million, and he took the featherweight championship from Patricio Pitbull. Now, Pitbull was a 2-time champion, right? He vacated the lightweight championship to his brother, Patricky Pitbull, let him take over that so he could focus on AJ McKee, ended up getting guillotined in 1 round. It was pretty devastating. The first exchange that McKee and Pitbull had, McKee hurt him with a head kick and then guillotined him, and that was basically it. Pitbull is vying for revenge. AJ McKee, undefeated at 18-0, is looking to finish out this Bellator contract, test the market, and get paid what the man is worth. This is going to be a really, really important fight, and I think that people need to be aware of this. This is on Friday night, folks, so by the time that we're uploading this, this will be tonight. You need to tune in Bellator 277, but don't just tune in for that. AJ, we also got Vadim Nemkov versus Corey Anderson, brother. Corey Anderson is undefeated in Bellator right now. I think he's 3-0 in Bellator, all finishes. Vadim Nemkov is a savage himself, though. So when it comes down to it, man, we have 2 title fights on the line. This is very reminiscent to UFC 273 last week. But I want just a quick take on this, right? Do you think that AJ McKee is the real deal? I mean, he's talking about, hey, man, I'll dispose of Alexander Volkanovski, no problem. I'm the best featherweight in the world. Give me this 2-pronged question. Is AJ McKee the real deal? Is he going to defend his belt against Pitbull? And do you think that Corey Anderson has a real potential to upset Vadim Nemkov for the light heavyweight championship at Bellator 277? That is the light heavyweight Grand Prix, brother. What do you think?
Personally, I think yes for both. Is AJ McKee the real deal? He's been proving it, man. 18-0, especially coming out with that first win on Pitbull, showing that this dude is no slouch, man. He can get in there, he can hurt you with multiple different weapons and finish you. Now it's the time to really prove it, because imagine he gets another spectacular win, takes his belt, goes over, says, hey, UFC, I'm the real deal. I can beat all your champions, comes in and starts proving it. We got another contender, man. I'm excited to see how this fight goes. Same thing for the Nemkov fight we got going. I definitely think Anderson has a really good shot, man. He's been in there with some of the best, undefeated in Bellator, but he has a storied UFC career where he's able to see different things, see the mixing, see the matching, see how things are going. Although at the same point, man, Nemkov is no joke. He's a serious fighter. So there's going to be a very much of a banger match going forward, man. I think this is one of those Bellators that is a must to watch, at least for those top 2. There's a couple of the fights in there that are good, but this is very high stakes in the Bellator organization that could lead into the UFC organization as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. So, folks, must watch, tune in, banger alerts. You already know what time it is, man. So let's get this show on the road, brother. You know what I mean? Lots to look out for. You guys already know what time it is. Now let's do a little bit of a post review, brother. All right, man. Vicente Luque Belal Muhammad, brother. When I look at the words on this, folks, so for those who are just listening, I'm going to kind of try to spell it out for you a little bit. When I'm looking at this, he got like some tiger print, something print. I feel like I'm looking at a Call of Duty back screen where you put the little camouflage on your gun or whatever, right? You got Vicente Luque squaring up, looking tough, right? Belal Muhammad doing his thing. It feels detached. It feels impersonal to me. You got the Luque versus Muhammad. The font on there to me looks like the Hollywood sign out there in California. It just looks weird. I'm getting like animal zoo vibes when it comes down to like safari hunt or whatever. Enough rambling. Oranges, blues, whatever you want to call it, brother. I'm not impressed. I'm going to go quickly, harshly off the bat. Let's get to 4 for me, brother. What are you giving it? What do you see?
I'm with you, brother. It feels like this is stock images all photoshopped together, and somebody's like, well, looks good. Like, all right. And I see what you're saying about the font being that California, the sign, the Hollywood sign style. Me, when I first saw it, have you seen that meme with the SpongeBob where he's leaning forward and has the capital letters? Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, Luque, Muhammad. That's exactly what I thought when I saw this one. I'm right there with you, brother. I was gonna go 3, but I think I'm gonna go 4. Just to be a little nicer.
Just, come on, give them a little something, right? A for effort, right? We'll give you a little something for that. So, folks, don't bother taking a look at the poster. I don't think it's worth it personally, excuse me. All right, folks, once again, 42-23 on the year. MI, 43-22 is AJ. He leads at about 66% accuracy. I'm about 64% accuracy. And with that being said, drop a like, subscribe, all the fun stuff. You know where to find us. But for those who do not know where to find us, those who are listening for the first time, bloodywaterpodcast.com, you dig what time it is. Let's get into some sleepers, brother.
Time for some fight night.
And if you ain't paying attention, you're gonna sleep on me and I'm gonna wake you up.
And before we jump into these sleepers really quickly, AJ, I do want to mention, we've been praising Bobby King Green far before the popularity, right? I needed to have him as our sleeper voice, the golden voice of our sleepers when we started this show, or when we first got the drop for this show, right? And to see that he just went on the Joe Rogan Experience and now he's blown up and everybody loves Bobby Green. Everyone knows who Bobby Green is. I feel like the real ones who've been supporting him before he was super popular, when he was still just a journeyman, right? We deserve a little bit of credit. That's neither here nor there. AJ, in light of that situation, or I guess I should say, in order to honor Bobby Green and his newfound success in terms of popularity, brother, let's talk about some banging sleepers this week, because every time you watch Bobby King Green, it's a sleeper fight. He's not getting the love he deserves. So I want you to start off, brother? You got a good, fun sleeper, and it looks like that sleeper is in the, what division are we in? Women's strawweight right here, brother? Talk to me. What do you think?
The women's strawweight, the women's 115, whatever you want to call it, man. This is gonna be a great fight, man. I'm going Sam Hughes versus Estela Nunez. Okay. Now, when I first saw this fight, Derick, I thought this one was a smash spot for Hughes. But the more I started looking into it, man, we got a serious fight on our hands right here, man. Estela Nunez, a little unknown, rather unknown, new to the octagon, new to the scene, coming in, but she's an absolute pit bull in the cage, okay? Very good movement, wild striking. She's going to be head hunting, going ones and twos down the pipe, and she stays vicious with it, man. Whether she's moving forward, moving backward, she's going to be throwing combos, looking for that KO, doesn't mind loading up to land that power, because she's one of those things that the women's division hasn't really been seen a lot of, is that power. But Nunez has some absolute crack on her shots, man. She's living back in the 80s with the crack pandemic. She's out there landing bombs. It's going to be a very fun fight, man. And for Hughes, this is a desperation win, man. She really needs this win. And for Hughes, she's lost her last three, I believe. I don't have the record up right now, but I'm pretty sure she lost her last three. This is a winner get cut time for Hughes, man, right here. She's a very technical, very patient, high IQ fighter, and the better all-around fighter. But she's not as mean. She's not as vicious. She's a little more timid than Nunez is. Not to say that Sam Hughes is timid at all, because she does go in there and she puts the pressure. She's doing her thing. But there's just a different style that Nunez comes in with. This reckless abandonment is one of the best words I've ever heard thrown around about it, because she's down, man. She's just down to get in there for the war, and I love that about her. And like I said, I thought this was a smash spot for Nunez, but this is kind of leaning a little bit more towards a highlight, potential match for Nunez, man. This is going to be one of the ones where we see if Sam Hughes is really going to step up to the plate, or we're going to see the new young gun come in and do what Sam Hughes is supposed to do. Because Sam Hughes came in and very highly touted, just didn't really deliver, man. So this is one of those ones where Sam Hughes needs a win, or she's going to get cut, or we're going to see Nunez kind of take that torch, take that fire, and keep running and do what the UFC brass thought Hughes was going to do and have a better storied career. Either way, we're in for a lot of fun. This is going to be a banger of a match in the women's division, and a very technical, powerful match. This one's going to be a lot of fun. You have to tune into this one. Who's your sleeper, Derick?
Well, first, brother, let me just comment. First, let me just comment, man. This is going to be a very fun fight. I do agree. And Sam Hughes is indeed on a 3-fight losing streak. However, all three of those fights are in the big show. In the UFC, losses to Tisha Torres, doctor stoppage there. A loss to Loma Lukbunmi, and that was a decision loss. And then lastly to Luana Pinheiro. Those are her three losses, brother. So obviously the Torres loss and the Lukbunmi loss, those aren't bad losses, brother. I mean, at the end of the day, that's high-level competition for your first couple fights in the UFC. The Pinheiro fight, okay, you know what I mean? Then it's like, all right, well, that was your opportunity right there. Now you have one last opportunity, and this could also be a situation where you win and you still get cut. It really just depends on how impressive the win is. But either way, we got someone with their back against the wall fighting for their contract versus a very dangerous Estela Nunez. And before we went live, folks, when the mics were still cold, I was telling AJ, I was all like, man, who is this Nunez fighter, man? Well, I thought she was supposed to be short and stout and, you know what I mean, a power fighter, pit bull type fighter. Josiane Nunez, right? We got the Estela Nunez over here, man, and I remember her. When I saw the picture, I was like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. Tall, long, lanky, straight punches, getting after it. Should be a fun one. But folks, for my sleeper, I'm going to be talking about people who, or I guess one of these fighters isn't a sleeper necessarily, because we talk about this dude a lot. He's made a little bit of buzz in the UFC. I'm talking about a 155-pound contest between Jordan the Monkey King Levitt and Trey Ogden. Now, this is going to be fun because Jordan Levitt, 7 of his 9 career wins are via finish. And you have 1 knockout, 6 submissions, right? This dude is more or less a grappler. He wants to use his striking, which is a little bit to be desired, I guess I should say, to set up his grappling, to get you on the ground, put you in all types of crazy submission positions, or even just position over submission, grapple you, hold you down, and win on points. However, the man has 4 career first-round finishes, and his only loss is in the UFC, and it's against Claudio Puelles, who is a machine. This dude is a grappling monster right here. But the dude he is facing and making his UFC debut is Trey Ogden. And Trey Ogden, man, this is nonstop. This is pressure. This is submissions. This is get in your face. This is fast-paced. This is high-paced, fast-paced, nonstop action. And this is why this is a sleeper to me, folks. He's currently on a 3-fight finish streak, 2 rear naked chokes, 1 arm triangle, 6 career first-round finishes, but but he has 3 first-round losses. So, AJ, I want you to comment on this real fast. What does it mean to you when you see a fighter who has a lot of first-round finishes, and when he's losing the majority of the time, it's going out in the first round? Because to me, that means all or nothing. It's Derek Minner style. We're going all out in that first round, and whoever takes it, but I'm coming for somebody's head. That is the recipe for a war. Am I not? Do you agree?
That's exactly what I was going to say, Derek. Live by the war, die by the war.
Yeah. Exactly. So with that being said, Jordan Levitt, Trey Ogden, that is a sleeper. You have 2 up-and-comers. Jordan Levitt, he's a little more established, right? He's fought a couple more times in the UFC. He's shown what he can do a little bit. We have also seen that he needs to improve on the striking a little bit and can't be too reliant on the grappling. But at the end of the day, Trey Ogden is going to be a very, very fun test for Jordan, the Monkey King Levitt. Now, that is just a sleeper that I don't even want to spoil too much by talking about it, getting expectations high. I want you to watch it. I want you to sit there. And when the fight is over, right, and all the performance bonuses are being handed out, if you see performance of the night or fight of the night, either one, I wouldn't be surprised personally. But then again, we got a lot of bangers, 14 fights, man. You got a lot of competition. So with that being said, those are our sleepers. And AJ, basically how I want to do this today, my man, because we got a lot of fights to talk about, I want to jump straight into the main card. We'll hit the prelim pour over after. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good, brother.
All right, folks. So once again, I am asking you to drop a like, to subscribe, to rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And listen, those are the things you can do to help us out, man. The main thing, hit us up on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, let the people know. This is the best MMA show in the world. We just got to get more eyes on it. You already know what time it is. All right, AJ, brother, let's get straight into it.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts, Derick G and AJ.
All right, brother, you know what time it is, my man. It's the rematch. So the context behind this rematch is important. Vicente Luque, number 4 in the welterweight division, is the only man to knock out Belal Muhammad in Belal Muhammad's storied career, in his very illustrious career, right? So the way he did it was pretty phenomenal, too. If you rewatch the fight, which was quick, it was like a minute or two, right? They're going about it, right? Vicente Luque is doing what he does. He's controlling the center of the cage. He's walking Belal Muhammad down, not letting Belal Muhammad use that wrestling intensive style that he has. They just get into a quick little exchange, and Vicente Luque drops him with a jab and calls it a day, man. And that was basically it. But the way that Belal Muhammad kind of fell back from the jab was very cartoon character-ish, which goes to show that it was even that much more impressive of a knockout. However, that knockout has aged very well for Vicente Luque, but that loss has also aged very well for Belal Muhammad. So nobody is in the wrong here. Nobody is really too disparaged here. But Belal Muhammad, he has a lot to prove, ego-wise, right? As a man's pride, sometimes it gets in our way. How much of that do you think is going to play a factor in this rematch? Because I think Belal Muhammad is a very intelligent fighter, and I don't think he's going to be factored by that too much, but I do think it will sway a little bit the outcome of the fight. What do you think?
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be on the forefront of his mind, but he's definitely going to have that in his back pocket where he's thinking, oh, I'm getting one back. I mean, as a man, you don't let that go. Like, it's one of those things where, even in, 6th grade, you think that one dude, all right, he got one on me. I'm still, next time I see him, we're going to get it back. And I think this is a good analogy for this, because that was 6 years ago. He got the knockout 6 years ago, but like you said, Derek, it's aged very, very well. Both fighters have gone on some serious meteoric rise, and they're both at the top of the division, so now they get to do it again. I don't necessarily think Belal Muhammad's going to fester on the fact of that first-round knockout, but he's going to think about it more as, I got caught, time to get the next one, where I think that's going to make it more of a fun fight. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think Belal Muhammad is going to need to be very strategic to win this fight, though. So this is my main question to you. Belal Muhammad's recent success on his 6-fight win streak has seen him walk forward, cut off the cage, use technical striking to set up his grappling, and then basically rely on the grappling to get the job done if he can't knock you out or if he can't get close to hurting you, right? When he was fighting Lyman Good, I think that he hurt Lyman Good a couple times on the feet in those exchanges. Same thing for Diego Lima. But then when he had the Leon Edwards fight, right, Edwards was kind of starting to run away, even though it was very early, and that's the one argument. We never know how that fight would have played out, but it looked like Leon Edwards had the early advantage against Damian Maia. Well, I mean, that was a good back-and-forth fight, but, I mean, Belal Muhammad basically just nullified Maia's grappling approach. Lastly, Stephen Thompson didn't need to box him up too much. Get him to the ground, get him on his butt, that's it. Can he do that against Vicente Luque, whose style is walk forward and smash? Now, he's not Dagestani Russian smash style. It's his own unique Brazilian version of it. But I think that there's a little bit of a hole that can be, how would you say, exploited, right? When he fought Michael Chiesa last, Chiesa took him down with relative ease. My thing is, can Belal Muhammad do that? And if he does, can he hold him there? Because Vicente Luque was able to get up. So what do you think?
Yeah, he was able to get up, and I think after the Chiesa fight, you kind of learn like, oh, okay, this. He was able to see these holes, shoot in real quick, get taken down, but I was able to stand up. So I think Vicente Luque, especially how good of a fighter he is now, he's going to learn from that. I'm not expecting too many takedowns, man. That's wrong. I'm expecting a lot. I'm expecting takedowns.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting takedowns right away. I think it's going to come a little bit later on in the fight. Going to get a little tired, and then the legs start getting a little heavy, and then Belal's kind of starting to black. I think the longer this fight goes, the more it favors Belal. The shorter, the more intermediate. That's where I think Luque is going to find a lot of success, because I think Luque has a little bit better of hands. Belal Muhammad's a little bit better in certain instances, but that's all debatable too, because Belal has really nice hands as well, man. What do you think?
That's where I'm going to kind of push back on you right here, brother, because I don't see it the same way. I think that Vicente Luque has a massive advantage in the striking, and I think it's because so here's how I see it. I think Belal Muhammad is more technical. I think he's got the speed advantage, but I think Luque has the massive power advantage, and he's willing to eat one to give one. And that's the thing that Belal Muhammad doesn't do too often. So I think that when it comes down to it and they get into these exchanges, Vicente Luque, eat the jab, throw the big right hand over the top, drop you with the jab, whatever the case may be, throw the head kick, throw the spinning kick. He switches stances a million times. He's just cutting off the cage back and forth. He'll have you circle out to your left. He'll throw that right high kick up top, or he'll kick you down to the legs and chop your legs out. Like, either way, man, if you look at him, he's a devastating finishes. 19 of his 21 victories are via finish, brother. He's got 11 knockouts and 8 submissions. So that's the thing about it, is that even when he hurts you, he might get himself into a position like he did against Tyron Woodley, man, where he got hurt and then he hurt Woodley, and then it was this random scramble. Next thing you know, dude's getting choked out. Or even against Michael Chiesa, because the one piece of context that I left out is that, yeah, he got taken down and he got up, and then he got taken down again, and then he got his back taken, and then he almost got finished, and then he somehow reversed it to then finish Michael Chiesa. So Vicente Luque is one of those exciting fighters who are willing to risk it all, who are willing to put themselves out there. And I think Belal Muhammad, given that 15 of his 20 wins are via decision, isn't as willing to take the risks as Vicente Luque is. So is that what's gonna be the determining factor on who's gonna win the fight? Who's willing to take the risk more or not? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that, as well as who's willing to live a little bit more in the fire to get the reward. You know what I'm saying? And we said it already. Luque is a little more accustomed to that, but I think with the way Belal Muhammad's career is going, it's the time to start kind of getting in that. I don't know if he has a chin. I don't know if he has like the determination of being able to weather those kind of storms, because Vicente Luque lives in the fire, man. And I agree with you. I think the longer the fight goes, Belal Muhammad has that decision-oriented style where he has cardio for days, man. He can take you down. He can keep doing it over and over and over again. But with the style that Luque has, he can turn an easy takedown. Next thing you know, he's on top of you. Like in the Chiesa scrambles, man, we saw it. There's a lot going on. And Luque is not calm in the fire, but predictable in the fire, if that makes sense. Like he's not patient, but he is doing the correct moves, seeing the correct timing, noticing things in order to get things done. It's going to be interesting, but I definitely think if we see a knockout, it's coming from Luque. If we see a finish, it's coming from Luque. If we see a decision, it's going to be more Belal.
And with that being said, brother, let's talk a couple prop bets right here. So one line that I see value in terms of a prop for Belal Muhammad is Muhammad to win on points. I think that's the way he wins personally. I have a hard time seeing him knocking out Luque. Have a hard time seeing him submit Luque, who Luque's never been knocked out. He has been submitted a couple times, so I guess that would be his possibility right there. But Muhammad by points, he's currently a plus 155 underdog in terms of the money line, plus 225 for Belal to win on points. I like that right there, bro, because I think it could happen if he was able to outpace Luque over 5 rounds. If maybe Luque goes all out and isn't able to put Belal Muhammad away in the first 3, maybe it does tilt full Belal, you know what I mean, because of his incredible cardio, because of his pace, all that stuff, right? So what do you think about that plus 225 line right there? Because there's a more lucrative line on Luque, but in the chances of an upset being pulled right here, what do you think about that prop bet?
I like the prop bet. I mean, if there is going to be an upset coming from that plus 155, and then you get that plus 2, whatever it was on the decision, that's the style of Muhammad, man. Because Luque is going to be very explosive, but once Muhammad kind of starts getting in his groove, he can also be the one that's putting the pace on. So I think there's some value right there.
Okay, I got you, brother. I got you. And then when we're looking at the last prop for Luque, for him to win by knockout is plus 240, and by submission is plus 350. So what do you think if you had to choose between submission or a knockout? His last 2 wins are via submission, but he also has 2 knockout wins before that. So what do you think?
I lean instantly in my head a little bit more submission just because I feel like that's Luque's style.
Sure.
But at the same point, man, this dude's been cracking people left and right lately.
Yeah.
So I think the knockout. I'm going with the knockout. I think it's a little more kind of in the momentum. What about you?
I'm going knockout too, especially because Belal Muhammad's never been submitted in his career. So I think that, listen, man, we're going to put some respect on Belal Muhammad's name, man. He's no easy outing by any stretch of the imagination. I just think Vicente Luque is that good. Once again, there's not too much hype on him. Why? He's the silent assassin. He doesn't talk. Like, he has to prove himself time and time and time again. But I'm leaning towards Vicente Luque here. I do want to just note that Luque only has 2 losses in the last 7 years, 1 to Leon Edwards and 1 to Stephen Thompson. For Belal Muhammad, his last loss was in 2019. That was against Jeff Neal via decision. Luque is the only man to finish him, but for Belal Muhammad, 9 of his last 10 wins are via decision, brother. So that's what I'm saying. He knows how to get it done. For Luque, 9 of his last 10 wins are via finish, 3 submissions, 6 knockouts. This should be a fun one. So let's talk about it. The over and under on this one, brother, 4.5 rounds. Who do you like, Vicente Luque or Belal Muhammad?
Ooh, they really think this one's going to decision, man. I'm going Luque. I really don't. And don't get me wrong, Muhammad has a very good shot of winning this fight, especially once he starts kind of determining the pace and the pressure. He has that cardio to get things done. But I'm going Luque. I'm going KO round 4. I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under. I think it's going to be an early round 4 knockout. But it's going to be close, man, because I do think this one will go a lot longer than we're expecting. What are you going with and why?
All right, brother, I'm rocking with Vicente Luque here, and I am going by some form of TKO in rounds 3, late round 3 or early round 4. That is my prediction. I'm hoping that I'm wrong because Belal Muhammad is one of my favorite fighters, so this kind of sucks. You know, I got the Belal Muhammad climbing up the rankings t-shirt, the whole 9. But the silent assassin is not one to be reckoned with, brother. So, yeah, we're rocking Vicente Luque on that one. That is your main event, folks. But we also have a very interesting co-main event that we need to talk about, brother. And this co-main event is between, and I don't know how often this happens, brother. This co-main event is between 2 fighters making their UFC debut. How do you get a co-main straight off the bat? Especially when a lot of people don't know who either of these fighters are. Now, I know them because I watch Dana White Contender Series. But if you don't, then I just don't know where the fan appeal is. Either way, we have Caio versus Gadzhi Omargadzhiev. And this is going to be a fun middleweight contest between UFC debutants once again. You have a dude in Borralho who can knock you out. He can strike into a decision battle with you. He could take you down and hold you there. You have Omargadzhiev who... So this is a weird comparison, AJ, but hear me out. Do you agree with me when I say that? I think Omargadzhiev is reminiscent to a big, slow version of like a Zabit Magomedsharipov in terms of the technical capacity which he's able to throw his kicks in the pocket. Very technical in that style. Like, he'll sit there, he'll play with you, but he'll do all of that technical striking just to set up his takedown. And once he's doing that takedown, he's slicing through your guard like butter. He's, you know what I mean, able to put you in a variety of different positions to be able to control you for the entire round. Like, he can get you down and hold you down for an entire round, and it's not a problem. Would you agree with me there, or am I being too generalist when we're just talking about the Russians and we just say everybody is like Zabit, everybody is like Khabib, everyone's like Chimaev? Like, what do you think?
I can see how you would think that, but no, I agree with you. He really is. It's comparing a golden delicious to another bigger golden delicious apple. You know, it's still the same thing, still the same size, just a little bigger, a little slower. But at the same point, Omargadzhiev, however, I'm gonna butcher that every single time I say it. He still is very fast and very strong for the division, but has that style. So I agree with you.
Yeah, man. And it's interesting because this dude opens up as a minus 140 favorite with the plus 120 underdog in Caio Borralho. Now, Caio Borralho, I think he is the more popular fighter. Personally, I think more people would know about him than they would know about Gadzhi. But either way, let's remember, it took him 2 fights to earn his UFC contract on the Dana White Contender Series. The first fight was a decision, and he didn't get the contract even though it was a pretty dominant decision. Then he comes back like 2-3 weeks later and says, all right, well, I'll fight again. What's up? And then he gets the finish win, early knockout, which was cool, right? It was cool, and he got the shot, but he was talking about it earlier, saying, I gave you guys 2 like great performances, fantastic performances, and I'm like, well, don't be too high on yourself right there, buddy. You know what I mean? The only reason I say that is because we know in Dana White Contender Series, you really have to be a finisher to earn contracts. That is what it is. But then again, Borralho is, by all stretches of the imagination, he is a finisher, brother. 4 knockouts, 3 submissions in his 10 victories, 70% finish rate. Listen, man, his last loss was in his second professional fight, and that was in 2015 against Caio Carvalho. I butchered that terribly, man. It was my Portuguese needs a little improvement. But either way, he lost via decision. That was his second professional fight. That was his last loss, brother. So he hasn't experienced an L in quite some time. And for Gadzhi, Omargadzhiev, man, 13-0, undefeated. I mean, come on, brother. 8 knockouts, 3 submissions. Finisher versus finisher, brother. So this is what it comes down to. Once you see a fight like we saw at UFC 277 between two grapplers, Burns and Chimaev, right? And what happened? You ended up having a stand-up war. Now, I'm not going to say that these are two grapplers because Caio Borralho has a lot of a high tendency to be able to just sit there and strike with you. But if he feels like he needs to take you down, he will shoot that blast double. Gadzhiev wants to take you to the fight, or Omargadzhiev, wants to take you to the ground too. Are we seeing a kickboxing match here? Do you think Omargadzhiev is going to be able to take him down and control him? Why is he the favorite? Give me your take on this, brother.
If we do see a kickboxing match, I'm leaning a little bit more to Borralho because this dude with that karate style, he's very explosive. He sits back. He's patient. He has a bomb of a left hand. Power and chaos is all day for Borralho. At the same point, though, Omargadzhiev has the striking acumen to see those things coming and react to it and then go to his game plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude can see things coming and then shoot the double, get the takedown, get your legs wrapped up, go Russian smash style. And he has a little bit more towards that. So I do think, and don't get me wrong, Borralho can also defend himself on the ground. He's game there as well. You know, in South America, they're always game anywhere the fight goes, and Borralho is very much that style. I personally think we're going to see a little bit of a washing machine, man. We're going to see the ups and downs. I think we're going to see Gadzhiev more on top, going to get that on top position, couple scrambles, back to the feet, kickboxing match, take it down again, up and down the entire time, which should be a very entertaining fight for these two prospects that when's the last time we've seen both NR, not ranked right next to these dudes named out of the co-main event. The UFC brass is holding these dudes very high standard right here.
Which also means they better deliver, right? Because you don't get this opportunity all the time. This is kind of a once-in-a-career type situation. I mean, obviously, you're both making your UFC debuts. So, listen, 9-fight win streak for Borralho, 13-fight win streak for Omargadzhiev. This should be a fun one. I do also want to note, Omargadzhiev is the only man in Dana White Contender Series history, only fighter in Dana White Contender Series history to finish a fight via knee bar. So I just wanted to put that out there. I thought that was kind of cool. All right, brother. So when it comes down to a couple of props, this is what I wanted to talk about. Now, this is going to be a little contrarian, but for Omargadzhiev to win via points, right, which I do think is a very high possibility, he's plus 235 prop for that one. So instead of that minus 140 money line, you have plus 235 for him to win on points. Or you have Borralho to win via knockout at plus 400 or decision at plus 350. Out of all of those props, which do you like the most?
Man, I mean, that plus 400 by knockout, that's it can happen because Borralho has the style to get things done, man. He has that karate, like I said, that blitzing style where he uses, he'll do a thing where he'll draw you in, kind of bounce on his feet, bounce. The second you rush in, he rushes in and attacks. That's how knockouts happen, man. So I like that 400. What was the number on the Omargadzhiev?
For Omargadzhiev by points, it's plus 235, excuse me.
Plus 235, not too bad. I still like the Borralho by knockout. I think that's one of the ones where, it's ironic because I wrote this down. That's the bigger guess and bigger gamble. Like that's the one where it might happen. Yeah. A little more likely for the Omargadzhiev by points, but that plus 400 by knockout, man, there's nothing to scoff at right there.
And do we think that it's out of the realm of possibility for Borralho with that plus 350 by points? Do you think it's possible for him to win on points, or is that even the longest stretch right there?
I think that's even the longest stretch, man, because with the style that Omargadzhiev fights on with the continuous takedowns and stuff like that, like it's going to be very hard for this dude to win by points, especially standing points.
Yeah.
If it stays standing, he can win a point battle, but I don't think it's not going to happen, man.
Yeah. I think there's going to be a hard-fought, 3-round fight right here between Borralho and Omargadzhiev, but the over and under is 2.5 rounds. Brother, minus 115 apiece either way. So they're saying over and under, it's going to be basically even odds. Who are you giving the upper hand to, man? Who are you picking and why?
Man, this one I actually had to go to the odds books on this one when I was looking up, man. This one's going to be a very close fight. It all depends on how things get going, whether we see the washing machine or we see the standing battle. Either way, man, I'm going with Omargadzhiev, and I'm going by decision. I think he has the skills to win this thing by points, control the entire match, control the entire fight, and then actually do things that he wants to do instead of being put in a position where Borralho has a little bit more tendencies to strike or options to win, if that's a better way of saying it. So like I said, man, I'm going Omargadzhiev by decision. What about you, Derick?
All right, brother. Yeah, I got to go Omargadzhiev here. I just think that the top control is going to be a little bit too much. I think that if Borralho does start having some real success on the feet, Gadzhiev is always going to be able to go and resort back to that grappling. I didn't say he's going to sit there and he's going to just maul him because Borralho is no slouch on the ground himself, but I do think that he should be able to do enough to be position over submission and win a point battle. So for that reason, I'm going the over. And I also do like that money line, man. I can't sit here. I like the money line, but I also like that prop bet that, let me see, for the Omargadzhiev by points at plus 235. I can't say that I don't like that. I'm going to be backing that one. So that is that for your co-main event, folks, and we can move on to the next one. Now, brother, listen, my man, Miguel Baeza, this dude has such a hot start to his career, and then you come into the UFC and you're kind of mixed, right? I think he's, 3-2 in the UFC. When you notch a knockout win over Matt Brown, I don't care what stage of your career in, but that is something to definitely hold on a high standard right there. So he has a win over Takashi Sato, a win over Matt Brown, a very close loss to Santiago Ponzinibbio, and a fight that he was winning until he lost against Chaos Williams, brother. So, I mean, listen, he's been battle tested already, but this is just another test, bro. And this is a dude in Andre Fialho who, at the end of the day, brother, he lost his last fight against Michel Paeta, and when you look back at it, yes, he lost his fight against Michel Paeta. In the moment, there was a lot of people saying, no way, Fialho, he won that fight, you know what I mean? But no, he lost the fight, but the thing that's scary about him is that regardless of whether he's winning or losing, he's walking you down, he's in your face, and he's trying to knock you out all 3 rounds. And for that reason, I smell a little blood in the water here from Miguel Baeza, brother. I mean, I love Caramel Thunder, brother. You know what I mean? He gets the job done. Dude's a phenomenal prospect. He's still young in his career. He's 29 years old, entering the prime of his career. But that chin got tested by Chaos Williams, brother. And you know Fialho is going to be that man to test it again. What is your thoughts just on this fight on paper? What do you think about it?
Man, this is going to be a very fun fight. I'm kind of surprised this isn't the co-main. Like this one, Chocolate Thunder Baeza, very dangerous, long, lanky, was winning that fight against Chaos Williams until he wasn't. You know, he got caught in a wild exchange, and it's what happens when the dude has power. Now at the same point, who also has power standing against him again? Fialho, however you say that.
Fialho.
But either way, this dude's normally a finisher, wasn't able to get it done against Pereira, but still very much a pressure fighter in your face. Very technical striking too, man. Keeps a high guard, doesn't let the hands down. He's not looping any of his punches. He's not pawing at anything. Everything's down the pipe. Everything's like it's supposed to be, and he's in your face the entire time, man. It's one of those fighters that nullifies that range that Baeza is going to have, and is able to get on the inside, do some damage, and then bounce out, staying away from the danger that is going to be coming back at him, man. If he can draw this into a war against Baeza, Fialho is going to be doing very, very well, man. This is going to be a very fun fight. What do you think about it, Derick?
I think that Fialho needs to watch his legs, bro, because Baeza, that's one of his main weapons that he utilizes sometimes and then not sometimes, you know what I mean? But he does have that fight against Ponzinibbio, man. He landed like 40 leg kicks on him. Calf kicks, you know what I'm saying, where he's beating up the leg. So I think that should be a very important tactic for him to try to use against Fialho, where he tries to beat up the legs, take away the mobility of Fialho, so he's not chasing him all around the cage, cutting him off. You know what I mean? The entire fight. But I do think that this is a winnable fight for Miguel Baeza. So I'm not going to lie to you, brother. I actually, when I was entering it in, because what I do is I'll take all of the information on ESPN and like all the odds and all that fun stuff, and I'll enter it to my own Excel sheet. And you know what I mean? I'll do it that way because that's just kind of how I like to go about it, right? So I'm doing that, and I actually put in a little manual error, right? Because everything is automated these days. My error was I flipped it, and I had the odds in favor of Fialho instead of Baeza. So when I was looking at this, I was like, dang, man, yeah, Fialho is the favorite, but I could see Baeza doing a little something until I realized that I messed up, and I was like, oh, Baeza is actually the favorite. So then I was like, okay, so when you look at it from that different perspective, it's like, okay, well, I saw all those ways Baeza could win. Now I understand why he's the favorite. But I also, when I was seeing Fialho as the favorite, I was like, that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I think this is going to be interesting because you have the more experienced fighter, the more knockout, chiseled fighter, the man who has steel in his hands in Andre Fialho, who, listen, man, 11 of his 14 career victories are via knockout. This is a man who has 10 first-round finish wins. So you know he's going to be on you early, often. And listen, 4-fight win streak prior to losing his UFC debut, brother. So he was on a hot one. Now for Miguel Baeza, I guess the question here is that if this fight were to go 3 rounds, he's only seen the 3rd round in 4 of his 12 career fights. So he started to fade against Ponzinibbio in that 3rd round. When I was rewatching the Fialho versus Paeta fight, I was like, well, Fialho was kind of fading too, you know what I mean? But Paeta also moves the entire time, so he's chasing him the entire time for 3 rounds. listen, brother, it's hard to really on paper give an advantage to anybody, especially knowing that Fialho is stepping in on short notice to take this fight. This is not the original opponent Baeza was booked against. So let's talk about a little intangibles, man. Basically, same reach. Baeza is a little bit taller, but Baeza stands very tall in his stance, right? He's very tall. Chin a little high for my liking. When it comes down to a prop bet, brother, Fialho by knockout is plus 315. Do you think that's a little too crazy of a prop right there to not at least throw a little bit of money on?
Yeah, I think you have to throw a little money on that, man. This dude's Fialho's striking is very impressive, man. And like you said, Baeza stands a little tall, the chin a little bit high, and he's down to get in the chaos. You know, once the hands start flying, he's down to sit there and take a couple to give a couple. I think Fialho, that's a very dangerous game to be playing against the man.
Absolutely. Now, Baeza, on the other hand, by knockout is plus 140. So, to me, what that means is the odds makers are saying Baeza has a much better chance to knock out Fialho than the other way around. Lest we forget, in the 4 career losses of Andre Fialho, 2 of them have been via knockout, 2 of them by decision. And in a weird twist of fate, even though it seems like, oh, this dude Fialho is the more experienced fighter, you know what I mean? He's the older veteran. Dude's younger than Baeza. He's 28 to 29, brother. So he's the younger fighter, bro. So it's like, to me, I don't know, man. I think that this is a spot where Andre Fialho on short notice is being overlooked. Miguel Baeza, Caramel Thunder, he has more popularity. He has more, commodity to his name, especially because he's been in the UFC a little bit longer, right? Fialho's coming from the PFL, from other organizations. I think that this is I don't want to say a smash spot, but this has live dog written all over it. Do you agree?
I agree with you, Derick. Fialho is very much a live dog, man. I was kind of surprised when I saw the odds that he was the underdog on this one, because I agree with you. When I was looking at this before I took a look at the odds, I was like, oh, this should probably be, one or the other, very close fight, a coin toss going forward. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fialho as the underdog. I also wouldn't be surprised. I'm a little more surprised to see Baeza as the favorite, just because of the way his style, his fighting has been going, man. We expected a lot out of him, and he has delivered to a point. You know what I'm saying? Like he's shown that, yeah, he's up there. He's a lot better than a lot of the other prospects out there, but he isn't quite to where we thought he was going to be. Now, Fialho has that chance right here to come in and take the fire from Baeza, keep it going, keep pushing, especially with the knockout, man. If Fialho is able to get that knockout and kind of take that clout from Baeza, it's going to be a very interesting shakeup to the division we're going to see. But either way, I do see a lot of value in that underdog, that plus 155 for Fialho.
All right, right on, man. So like I said, the prop bet that we need to discuss, Fialho plus 315 for the KO. I like that prop right there. Plus 155 money line for Andre Fialho. I like that money line right there. Either way, over and under, brother, on this one, it looks like we're looking at 1.5 rounds. What are you going, over, under? Who you got?
Yeah, I like that prop bet for the knockout by Fialho, and that's exactly what I'm going, man. I'm going Fialho, KO, but I'm going round 2. And I'm going to late round 2, so I'm taking the over. Okay. I think it's going to come late round 2. Either way, like I said, Fialho, KO. Who you going with and why?
Even though I'm praising this prop bet right here, brother, I cannot put all my eggs in one basket, and I think that this could turn out to be something a little bit surprising. So I think I'm actually going to rock with something that nobody's going to expect, but another prop bet. Fialho to win by decision is plus 550. Against Miguel Baeza. I just hope that the cardio's in shape. He's in shape, ready to go, because I think he can make Baeza fade and then get the job done over 3 rounds. So I'm going to rock the over. I'm going Andre Fialho on this one. Should be a fun fight. And let's move on to the next one, brother. So for these next few fights that we got here, let's just kind of run through these ones pretty quickly, man. You know what I mean? Because we're starting to go a little late on time. So next up, folks, we got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Wu Yanan, or Yanan Wu. Honestly, don't know how to say it, but I do know she's a fun fighter. I bet on her in my last fight. I was massively disappointed, but it's okay, because she opens up as a plus 330 underdog against Mayra Bueno Silva, who, let's not forget, lost a pretty decisive loss in her last fight to the beast, man, Manon Fiorot. But then again, Wu Yanan, it's not like she fought somebody who was a slouch in her last one either. She fought Jocelyn Edwards, who's got real pop in her shots, but that's the problem. So does Bueno Silva. So this is like the same fight over again, because Jocelyn Edwards had good jiu-jitsu and power in her hands. Mayra Bueno Silva has good jiu-jitsu and power in her hands. There's really no difference between this fight other than Bueno Silva's probably a little, she's got the same frame. If not, she's smaller than Wu Yanan. So I just want to put it like this, brother. There's no prop bets available for this fight right now, but I just want to put it like this. 2 of Mayra Bueno Silva's career losses have come in the UFC, Manon Fiorot and Marina Moroz. 6 of her 7 wins are via finish, 5 submissions, 1 knockout. 6 of those 7 finishes, first round, or 6 of those 7 wins, first round, right? So when she finishes you early. For Wu Yanan, 4 career losses have come against fighters in the UFC or who have eventually entered the UFC. Yana Kunitskaya, Gina Mazzani, Jocelyn Edwards. You got Inawi, I forgot her first name, but either way, high-level competition. This is what it comes down to right here. 8 first-round finishes, 11 of her 12 wins via finish, 6 knockouts, 5 submissions. Finisher versus finisher. How do these styles clash? Who gets the finish? Or if there is one, but who gets the finish and why?
Yeah, man, finisher versus finisher. This is going to be a lot of fun because Mayra Bueno Silva is mean in the cage. Yeah. Very rarely do we have a marauder in the female division, and that's Bueno Silva, bro. She's down to shell up, walk forward, talk some shit, put her tongue out, do the whole like, oh yeah, you can't hit me, or like, oh, shrug it off, like, oh, that's no biggie. She'll stay walking forward, and what I like about that too, she doesn't just say walking forward uncarelessly. She says walking forward and very composed. She sees what's going on. She can get outworked. But in those times, and she's landing power and she's stalking you down. So if you're not able to deal with the pressure of somebody doing that, it's going to be a very long fight, man. And for Wu Yanan, very gritty fighter, very good heart, stiff left hand, but she stays a little bit bouncy, man. A little excessive movement for me. She stays moving with the karate hands. I don't even call them karate hands, man. I don't know what, like Wun Chung, whatever the thing is, man. She stays a little excessive for me. You have to tell me if you feel the same way, Derick, because I saw a little funky shoulder movement, especially out of range. I forget which coach was talking about it, and they were like, or if it was an announcer or whoever, they're like, yeah, she has great movement, but she's out of range. Like, there's no reason to be doing all that stuff. You can't get hit. There's no reason for it. But at the same point, man, Wu Yanan, very dangerous, very good kicks, can get tired. So I think we're going to see something early, man. I think we're going to see an early finish right here. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Silva knockout, just because Silva's very hard to, and I'm not sure if she has been knocked out in her fights, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards Silva doing the finishing, Wu Yanan getting the points, staying agile, staying at distance, and dictating it that way. How do you see it playing out, Derick?
Yeah, brother, I think that on the feet, this could be a little interesting. I think Bueno Silva has a little more pop in her shots with the big overhands and things of that nature. Wu Yanan is going to be a little more down the pipe, right? Try to work those stiff shots, those straight shots, little check hooks, stuff like that. Both of these fighters can get the fight to the ground, but I think Bueno Silva is going to be more of a threat on the ground. So, listen, man, I just got Mayra Bueno Silva. The over and under on this fight appears to be 2.5 rounds. Brother, I think this is going to be a hard-fought decision victory. I don't think she's going to be able to finish Wu Yanan, who in her 15 career fights has only been knocked out once. She's never been finished aside from that. So I'm rocking with the over. I'm going Mayra Bueno Silva, and I just think that this is going to be a little bit too much of a tough test for Wu Yanan, who was fighting a very similar opponent to her last, and she didn't have a lot of success against her. So what do you think?
I agree with you. I'm doing the same, man. Silva by decision. As much as I can see the knockout coming, I'm not predicting it. I'm going Silva by decision.
Gotcha. All right, folks. And we'll move on to the next one. We got Pat Sabatini versus TJ Laramie. Brother, this is actually a really, really fun, good fight. And this is one that I think that shouldn't be on the main card, and the reason why, because I think more eyes would be on it if it was a featured prelim. Now, our featured prelim is a banger. It's Devin Clark versus William Knight, so you're not going to pass that one up. But this is going to be a fun fight, brother. You got 2 grapplers, 2 wrestlers. Pat Sabatini, fantastic finisher when we're talking about submissions. TJ Laramie is a fantastic finisher when we're talking about knockouts. Both of these dudes want to get the fight to the ground. Both of these dudes are going to be motivated. TJ Laramie has talked about wanting to upset Pat Sabatini, who is a heavy minus 450 favorite with a plus 350 underdog comeback for TJ Laramie. Now, things that we need to know about Pat Sabatini. Currently on a 5-fight win streak. He's only been finished once in his 3 career losses, 1 knockout, 1 decision win, 1 split decision win. And 12 of his 16 wins are via finish, 2 knockouts and 10 submissions. Now, for TJ Laramie, he has a style that is a little bit of the antithesis of what Pat Sabatini's is, right? So he's only lost to 2 fighters in his career. I believe Alex Morgan ×2 and Vince Murdoch, who was on The Ultimate Fighter 29. 9 of his 12 wins are via finish, 7 knockouts, 2 submissions, and he lost his UFC debut versus Derek Minner due to a first-round guillotine. So that's the issue with the wrestlers, right? You shoot in, you get guillotined, happens, right? Pat Sabatini, though, this is a dude who, I mean, listen, Tucker Lutz, he had a war against Tucker Lutz. He won that fight. He fought Jamal Emmers. He got pieced up, man. He was losing the fight completely until he heel hooked Jamal Emmers. They were going for double foot locks, you know what I mean? And then he ended up getting his knee popped. Tristan Connolly, that was a fun decision win. Listen, brother, this dude Pat Sabatini's on fire, man, and he's got some will to win. He has heart. He has determination. But TJ Laramie is a dude where I think when he's fighting at his best, will take you down, position over submission, and smash your face in. So I just don't know who's going to win when it comes down to that grappling matchup. Is Pat Sabatini going to try to play jiu-jitsu? Is TJ Laramie going to try to, you know what I mean, do that smash style? Or is it going to be a kickboxing match? Either way, brother, I do have props on this. Sabatini by points, plus 115, or Laramie by KO, plus 800. What do you like better there? What do you think?
Plus 800, man. No one's expecting that knockout, huh? Yeah, I definitely think Sabatini by points is a little bit more favorable. I know it's only at 115, like you said, but I think it's a little bit more likely to happen. Obviously, 100 to 800, the odds makers think the exact same thing. But TJ Laramie's a bulldog, man. He's a bulldog on the ground, power that can finish you. So it can happen. Don't get me wrong. That plus 800 can happen for TJ Laramie. Personally, though, I'm leaning a little bit more Pat Sabatini, and that's actually how I'm seeing the fight go down, man. Sabatini by points. I got him by decision. Whatever the over-under is, I'm taking the over. But either way, that 800 can happen. I just don't necessarily see it happening, Derick. And I agree with you. This one's a hard one to see how the fight's going to go because both fighters are really good at everything. Pat Sabatini, even more so, on the ground and on the feet, and he's good on his back. So when you have the pressure wrestler TJ Laramie, makes it a little harder to guess who you going with and why.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I think Sabatini is just so good overall as a prospect, man. 4-inch reach advantage, 2-inch height advantage. He's the bigger, longer fighter. I think he's going to be able to dictate the range, going to grapple when he wants to grapple. The only thing you got to watch out for, man, is TJ Laramie has real bombs in his hands, bro. You need to be careful in those exchanges, especially when he got rocked by Jamal Emmers, who is a fantastic striker in his own right. But either way, I like Pat Sabatini here. I know it's chalky, but I think that he's going to be able to get the job done. I don't forget, TJ Laramie was a hot prospect coming out of Dana White Contender Series, but I'm rocking with Sabatini. Over and under is 2.5 rounds. I am rocking the over, and I do see a decision victory here. I just think TJ Laramie is going to be, he learned his lesson from the first fight, not going to shoot in recklessly, and I think it's going to be a hard-fought 3-round war right there, brother. So Pat Sabatini across the board for us here at the Bloody What Podcast. And now we lean into the last fight of the main card, or I guess I should say the first fight, really, right? Now, this is another very short notice bout against Mounir Lazzez, fighting out of Morocco versus Ange Loosa. And, bro, if you don't know anything about Ange Loosa, man, get ready for a fun time because this is going to be a bit of a size discrepancy, right? Lazzez is the big, tall fighter, 6'1", 76-inch reach. Loosa, 5'10", 74-inch reach. But the one thing that is really interesting about Loosa is that he is 8-2, right? 5 knockouts, 1 submission. But even though he has 1 submission, this dude's grappling chops are a lot better than people would think, man. You look at him, and even in his headshot, you're like, ooh, look at the traps on the man. You know, he's looking thick, you know what I mean, jacked out there. This man could get you into the ground and do horrendous things to you. So things to know about these fighters. Lazzez has only been finished once in his 2 career losses. 1 knockout, 1 decision loss. 8 of 10 wins via finish, 8 knockouts, and then 5 career first-round finishes. So he likes to get it done early and often. Ange Loosa, he's replacing Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos, who fell out for whatever reason. So very short notice. 6 of his 8 wins via finish, 5 knockouts, 1 submission. 6 of 8 finishes are all first-round finishes. Both these dudes want to get you out early, brother. So that's what it comes down to. Let's not forget, Lazzez in his last fight lost to Warley Alves in the first round. It was an early onslaught. Lazzez came in, overpowered him, body kicks against the cage. It was too much. And I think that fight was in Abu Dhabi too. So that was, tough for the hometown fighter, more or less, right? But for Ange Loosa, man, he's got decision wins, split decision wins, finish wins, all types of different stuff, man, like we already kind of noted. So my question to you when it comes down to this, AJ, is Lazzez going to learn his lesson and try to pace himself or play a little more smart defense and not let somebody just rush in and get in and try to go smash style? Or do you think the unknown commodity of Ange Loosa is going to make it that much more difficult and he's going to just have to adjust on the fly?
I think it's going to be a very difficult fight to not be able to be over what's the word I'm looking for? Like over pressured, overcome. Because Ange Loosa, it's a 4-day fight notice, man. He picked this fight up on 4 days and said, fuck it, I'm down to scrap. And he's training, so he's going to have that, but he's going to need to finish that fight early. Thankfully it's not a 5 round, so he's not worried about, going those extra 10. But at the same point, man, there's a difference. When you're preparing for your opponent, you're doing the thing, you're getting ready for it. Mounir Lazzez, he's been training, he's been more dedicated. And sure, they're probably both in the gym. I know for sure they're both in the gym training. But the mental game of who you're going to fight takes a lot of aspect into this, man. And same goes for Lazzez, man. Lazzez was going for somebody else. So now that you get Ange Loosa coming in with all that pressure, all that determination, it's going to be a very hard fight. But if Lazzez can keep him on distance, keep him going, keep away from the ground game, man, because Loosa is very, very dangerous on the ground and has hella power. So it's going to be very interesting, man. This dude's high pressure, all power. Lost his Contender Series debut, but still very fast and has a lot of size to him. Trained with Kamaru Usman, but now that Kamaru went somewhere else, he's also training at Sanford, where who was it? Gilbert Burns, all the killers out of Sanford. So this dude's well trained. Very hard fight for Lazzez, but 4-day notice, man. That's what did it for me. I'm like, this dude's taking this on 4 days against Mounir Lazzez. Gonna be a very tall mountain to climb.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. And the one thing that sold me on Ange Loosa is when he fought Jack Della Maddalena. And that was a fun fight, man. That was back and forth. That was scrambles. That was having him in disadvantaged positions, taking him to the ground. He had an arm triangle he almost had cinched up on him, brother. That's crazy. Jack Della Maddalena is a real deal prospect right there. So for Ange Loosa, even though he lost the fight, to have that level of success against him, I see beautiful things to come in his future at the highest of levels. Now, Mounir Lazzez, man, he's a heavy hitter, brother. He's a heavy hitter, and I think that he has the potential to be able to get this fight accomplished out of there early. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we're just going to have to see what it comes down to with the grappling defense, submission defense, all of that good stuff, man. I'm going on a whim here, AJ, over and under is 2.5 rounds. I'm rocking with the underdog. I'm rocking with the man coming in on 4 days' notice who's just willing to scrap, Ange Loosa. I think the unknown factor is going to be a little bit of a difficulty. However, I think if he gets it done, he got to get it done early, brother. So I'm going to go second round knockout, Ange Loosa. And I'm going to go early, so I'm going to take the under on that one, brother. So I'm just going to give that one right there. I love my man Mounir Lazzez. Don't get me wrong. Dude's a great, great fighter. But like I said, I'm going with the upset here so I can get over on the week on you. You know what I mean? I got to get back into at least even this thing up, see what happens. What do you think, bro?
No, I'm with you. And if I see a way for Loosa to win, that's what it is, man. Early, vicious, a lot of power. I'm expecting Lazzez to come out and point his way to victory, man. I'm going Mounir Lazzez, and I'm going by decision. Like I said, I'm expecting the points. I'm expecting to play a calculated game, get the dude on a 4-day notice fight, get him tired, get him working, get him feeling a different kind of way, especially with the bright lights of the UFC. The crowd's back. It's going to be a whole different vibe now that Los has never, ever seen. So like I said, man, I'm going Lazzez, and I'm going by decision.
All right, right on. Well, that concludes the main card for UFC Vegas 51. Should be fun fights across the board. And AJ, man, real fast, let's just talk about it real fast. I know we're on the main card portion, but let's talk about a couple of sleeper fights on the prelims, just real quick. We'll just go over these kind of glancingly, right? I already mentioned Devin Clark versus William Knight. This is a get-back fight for William Knight, right? He came in short notice on his last fight, I believe. He ended up losing. I mean, listen, at this point, you rack up another loss and you're cut. You're out of the UFC. You know, you work so hard to get here. Devin Clark is by no means an easy outing, brother. He can knock you out. He can grapple you, TKO you, either way. Who do you like in that one?
I like Devin Clark, man, especially after his last fight against Anthony Smith, right?
I believe so, but I could look it up while you're talking about it.
So that's the one I'm thinking. You coming back after a fight like that, losing your teeth, having the display of that fight that it was, I think Devin Clark's going to come back with a vengeance on this one, man.
Yeah.
Who you like?
So that was actually 2 fights ago. His last fight was against Jan Kutalaba. He lost that one too, and then he got submitted by Anthony Smith. So either one. Yeah, I like Devin Clark there, brother. Even though he's on that 2-fight losing skid, brother, I think he has all the tools to be able to get it done, especially against a William Knight, who we've seen, man, his main thing is just the hands. If you're able to take him down, man, he has a real hole in his game still. And let me just look at the last time William Knight fought, because when you look at it, his last fight was February 12th, right? What are we in now? We're in April, right? It's March, April, May. It's been like 2 months, right? You can't learn takedown defense in 2 months. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I like Devin Clark there. I think that should be a fun fight. When we're looking at a couple of other ones, man, we got Lina Lansberg versus Pannie Kianzad. This is the fight, AJ, that I'm predicting Pannie Kianzad. Even though I can see a path to victory for Lansberg, this is where she officially enters the top 10. This is where she really stakes her claim in the women's bantamweight division, because Lansberg is an OG. She's a veteran, but Pannie Kianzad has good takedown defense, amazing hands. Her hands are just so crispy. Her boxing is fantastic. I really like Kianzad in this spot. But like I said, I do see a grappling, point fighting approach to victory that can happen for Lina Lansberg. Either way, who do you like?
Yeah, I can see Lansberg getting done, and at the start, I kind of lean a little bit more towards the elbow queen, but at the same point, man, Penny Kianzad is kind of on a come up.
Yeah.
That was a little. I don't have one. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Kianzad. I think
Yeah.
the momentum's on her side, but Lansberg can also get it done.
Absolutely. How about the return of Chris Barnett, man, fighting a Martin Boudet, man? This is knockout artist versus knockout artist. However, we did see Chris Barnett, even though his last one against Jan Vellante, brother, spinning wheel kick craziness with the front flip to celebrate. But then again, bro, he was on the back foot the whole time in that fight. And this is one of those fights where I think if he didn't land that miraculous kick, probably would have lost. At least it seemed to me that's how the fight was going. He's fighting a Martin Boudet where I think he has every opportunity to win this fight. However, Martin Boudet is willing to sit there and trade with you, man, get into the trenches and go smash style on the feet at least. Who do you like, Chris Barnett or Martin Boudet in this one?
I like Barnett, man. I like Barnett in this fight, especially because he still has that crazy wildness to him, but he's probably, or I'm hoping anyway, that he's calmed down a little bit. A little. It's not the first fight in the UFC anymore. He's able to kind of show a little bit more of his skills.
He's also got nearly 30 fights in his career where Boudet only has 10. So I like Barnett here. I think that he should be able to get the job done. But then again, these are heavyweights, man, and all they got to do is land once, and that's basically it. I did also want to mention that fight between William Knight and Devin Clark is also taking place at 265. So, or actually, I guess it's 205. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe my words were wrong. I thought it was 265. I was like, damn, they jumping up weight, huh? Okay, interesting. Either way. Disregard. All right, Rafa Garcia versus Jesse Ronson, brother. This is going to be fun because Rafa Garcia, he could strike with you. Now we know he could wrestle with the best of them. I guess that's the thing he was known for coming into it, believe it or not, that he was a wrestler. But he's fighting a Jesse Ronson, who is a man who is known for his finished victory over Nicholas Dalby, man, which is a very, very big win. Before we talk about this, AJ, did you have anything on any comment on what I had just said previously?
On Tapology, it says 265. So they might be fighting at 265.
Yeah. And ESPN, it says light heavyweight. So I don't know. We'll see who's right come fight night. Either way, what you think about that Garcia versus Ronson fight?
It's going to be fun. I mean, the no contest against Dalby, he did get the finish, but they changed it to a no contest. I'm not sure why. I haven't clicked on it yet. But Ronson, man, he's no joke, and he's a little underknown. So I'm leaning a little bit more towards Rafa. But at the same point, it's just because I like Rafa Garcia, man. There's no real way. Ronson can get this fight done, and if he does, it really puts him in an advantageous spot to kind of get known, kind of start moving up the ranking on that one, man. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I'm looking at up too because if I remember correctly, I think he popped for something. I don't know. I don't remember. I think I remember reading an article about him coming back, like some weeks or months ago or whatever. There's nothing. What's up?
Metabolites.
Yep.
Anabolics. Yep. He got popped after.
Yeah, you popped. So, but then again, I mean, listen, it was still, I don't think, obviously, do we condone steroid usage in the big show? No, man. You're playing with their livelihood, their health. But I think the way that he got the job done against Nicholas Dalby was not a steroid-induced victory. I think it was just he just was the better man that day, man. I think he got it by submission or some shit like that, man. Or it was a ground and pound finish or submission, either way. That should be a fun fight. Hopefully he's coming out. If you're back, you better be passing the USADA stuff. You better be clean, especially against a Rafa Garcia. You better come to fight, man. So I like Rafa in this fight personally, man. I think this is going to be a good stepping stone for Rafa. But this is a tough test nonetheless. And then lastly, AJ, brother, what better of a fight to start off the card than Haley Alatang Haley, versus Kevin Kroom, brother. So this is going to be nonstop pace fight. This is going to be banger alert. I think someone's going to sleep in this fight. What do you think?
I think someone's going to sleep, man. Alatang Haley, he's dangerous. Kevin Kroom, dangerous, man. We got a firefight for the first one. I almost made this a sleeper until I saw that Sam Hughes is Stella Nunez fight, man. They both that lead off fight, man, between Haley and Kroom is going to be a banger. You got to tune in early to get this one going.
Should be a fun one. I'm not even going to pick a winner on this one. I'm just going to sit back and watch and enjoy the show. That's how much of a good fight I think this is. So, folks, that is your prelims. We already hit featured sleepers. We hit the main card. We gave you prop bets. We gave you our entire list of fights. You want to line it up into a parlay. Do what you need to do, but it's important that you know that if you stuck around to this point, you're not just getting picks. You're also getting an understanding, a firm analysis on why we were going behind these picks. I picked Loosa as opposed to Lazzez because I see the upside overall, not only in the short notice bout, not only only in the knockout power, but because if I get that one and AJ picked Lazzez, listen, man, we tie back up on the week. So it's strategy. This is long game. This is chess, not checkers. You know what time it is, folks. But like I said, best analysis in the game, best MMA show in the world. You know what time it is. Bloody Water Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Bloody Water Pod, on Instagram at Bloody Water Podcast. But most importantly, hit up our YouTube page and subscribe. Share with your friends. You know what time it is. All right, AJ, last but not least, when we're talking about fights, man, we're talking about the big show. We're talking about Bellator. We're talking about One. We're talking about all these fun places, right? But right now the focus is UFC Vegas 51. Luque versus Muhammad. Number 2, brother. This has the highest implications. And at the end of the day, whoever wins this fight, even though I said they're probably going to be in line for the title, you know that's probably not going to happen because Leon Edwards and I don't know. So I should say, if Leon Edwards is indeed next up to fight Kamaru Usman, then the winner of Muhammad versus Luque, but more likely Luque if he wins, because they might try to play Muhammad dirty and make him fight another fight after. But if Luque wins in definitive fashion, I think they say winner of Edwards versus Usman, you get Luque next. Unless it's a rematch, and then, you know, there's so many fucking variables and complications that come into it. MMA math never makes sense. But, brother, how you feeling? Last words before we get up out of here, my man.
Feeling good, man. I agree with you. I think if Luque gets the win, he'll see the title shot a lot faster than if Muhammad gets the win. But either way, man, this entire card, 14 fights, stacked, top to bottom. A lot of people that the casuals might not know, but the hardcores know this is going to be a lot of fun to watch, man. You got to tune in early, get those fights going. It's going to be a blast. I'm excited for this Saturday, man. And also excited for Friday night, bro. Those 2 fights on Bellator, you got to tune in. Those will be fun.
Don't forget AJ McKee versus Patricio Pitbull number 2 and Vadim Nemkov versus Corey Anderson for the light heavyweight Bellator Grand Prix. They're fighting for the title. It's going to be a fun one. Nemkov is looking to make his 3rd straight title defense. So listen, brother, these are just bangers after bangers, brother. What can we say? Fun night of fights overall on the weekend. And I will lastly have to say this, folks. Listen, man, if you're not watching the prelims, I don't know what you're doing. You saw we just took all of this time to go over the prelims, go over sleepers and all that. That's because, especially post a numbered UFC event, right? A pay-per-view event, you oftentimes get these sleepy-ish cards that end up being the best cards on the entire year. So when we do a year's revisionist history at the end of the year for the awards, and we're like, oh yeah, you remember UFC Vegas 51 on the prelims where it was knockout of the year? Yeah, exactly. So I'll just leave it at that, folks. That was it for us this time. We will see you on, Monday. On Monday for the post-show analysis, man. We will be talking about whoever wins this big fight. Also the, like I said, championship implications over there at Bellator. But either way, AJ, brother, what you got going on for the day? You know what I'm saying? Just for the people, you know what I'm saying? You out there, you hitting a hike, man? You going hitting the exercise? What you doing today?
Yo, brother, right after this, man, gonna go walk Sasha Bear, hit the gym. Then I got 2 clients to finish out the night.
There we go, brother.
And we back at it, brother, watching the fights on Friday. You know how it goes. What you doing?
Listen, brother, today is the day I got to go hit some strength and conditioning later on at 8 o'clock. I got a couple meetings throughout the day, all that fun stuff, man. But what's important is that we not out just in the crib all day. We out there getting it. I just wanted to give one last motivational note before we got out of here. Go do something, man. Go walk the dog. Go run a mile. Go hit the gym. Break a sweat. It's important. It's good for you. All right, folks, that's enough of us. Until next time, folks. Peace.